What is up, fellow nerds, and welcome to Not Your Status Quo. Tonight, we are talking the latest episode of Skeleton Crew. But before we get into all of that fun, Dave, Doug, how's it going, gentlemen?
Well, Keith, I'm better than I was the other day. Where was I the other day?
You were, writing a new season of Smallville. You were out.
Oh yeah, that went over really well. They said they'll probably get to it within the next 10 years. So
Oh, oh no.
big season 11 reveal. Sorry, guys. But yeah,
I heard it was
yeah.
going to be announced at this year's DC Fandom. So,
Which
We're
we're
thinking
totally
about
covering,
having its
right?
own event. So separate from the fandom. So it's going to be amazing.
And you
Just
got
hold
back
on.
all the former actors and actresses, right?
Oh yeah, even Allison Mack, she will be filming from her home where she is currently on home arrest or whatever they call that.
She's gonna just zoom into every time there. It looks like we've got to deal with Lex Luthor again. Now you're muted.
Oh, you left that in the show. Oh, great, great, great. Yep, that's in the final cut. Leave it. Yep, and it was an interesting New Year. I played a gig, and that was an amazing gig. Nobody messed up any notes. It was great. We had the crowd dancing. It was a fun time. And then I came home and collapsed because I was pretty not well, and I laid in bed for the next 16 or so hours. It was great. Now let me tell you, got a flat tire, put the spare on the car. That was flat. That was fun.
Fun.
So I got all that fixed today. So I'm ready to talk some Skeleton Crew with you guys. See what you think. So Doug, did you have just an amazing week yourself?
Well, Dave, let me tell you, I'm okay. Uh, so, uh, I woke up today to find out, before I'd even finished drinking my coffee, to find out that apparently somebody had gone down our street and, quote unquote, broke into cars. And I say broke into, I just mean they looked for cars that were unlocked, which, whoopsie daisy, that was me. Didn't think to. I live on, the street I live on, Dave. It's relatively safe. There's nothing going on there. I just don't think to lock my car door every now and again. And thankfully, I don't keep anything of value in there because they ended up opening my center console, pulled everything out, threw it all over my seats. And I was like, oh, okay. And they did this to a couple of other people on the street, too. I mean, I guess I'd be more shaken up if, like, they actually took anything. I'm assuming it's probably just some dumb kids trying to look to see if anybody happened to keep any money in their car. I don't know. I didn't have anything. They didn't take anything. A little bit of mess to clean up, so whatever. Um, Other than that, I'm really surprised that you gentlemen don't want to do any jock talk. Did something happen with your teams?
Not yet. They
so
played together
oh,
this
you guys
week.
wanted to know how I was doing? Why, yes, I'm, I'm tremendous, Doug. Thank you for asking. And I would just like to say, Attack on Show said, "What's happening, fellas? Happy New Year! Happy New Year to you too." We got fellow nerd Doug gifting out subs. Thank you very much, fellow nerd Doug. We got
It's with open borders. Oh God.
we got we have a resub from Tall Guy 0403. So thanks everybody for all the support. We appreciate it. And hopefully the border situation can get resolved so Doug can leave his car doors unlocked and feel sleep at night. And no, Doug, don't want any jock talk today.
Aww.
But this Sunday will be my Green Bay Packers versus Dave Chicago's Bears at 1 o'clock because it doesn't mean a thing. So,
Right.
I just know both teams are going to go out there and just have fun.
They are.
In the cold. I don't know if I would go out there just to have fun in the cold. I would have to get paid to play out in Green Bay.
Well, it's funny. The gentleman who I went to Lambeau Field earlier this year to see the Lions trounce the Packers will be there this Sunday to watch the Bears game. He's taking his family. He's like, they're all wanting to go. It's going to be cold. And I'm like, good.
Okay.
I'll be enjoying it from the warmth of my couch.
Right.
At least he can take him to see a game they're definitely going to win.
And you know Rob's a sports fan and follows the news because he just asked, have the Bears needed their punter this season?
Oh my God. Is he referring to the Caleb Williams statement before the season? Because I think he has more punting yards than Caleb Williams has passing yards this year. It's terrible. Terrible. Terrible.
Terrible. But hey.
But keep answer. How are you?
I'm
We
tremendous.
got to hear the word. There we go. Right.
Had a good week. I'm off work, so it's been really weird. I've been off since Christmas Eve. I don't usually take this much time off, and it just feels weird being away from work for this long. A good weird, but still weird. So I still got Friday, Saturday, and Sunday left. I'm gonna enjoy it, and hopefully get some more vacation here relatively soon.
Nice.
But
You
hey,
kids.
should we talk a little Skeleton Crew, gentlemen?
I think so.
Because
Yeah.
we got episode 6, Zero Friends Again. Which
Yep.
started out with Jod or Dash or Crimson Jack, whatever his name is, and SM-33 getting captured by the pirates, getting the lightsaber taken away, which I was immediately a little disappointed in the episode because after the cliffhanger from last week,
Right.
I did not expect the lightsaber to just be taken away and him captured.
What a disappointment. I mean, I was sitting there, like you, I was praising the hell out of the cliffhanger, saying, what a way to end an episode. That's what's up. Making me, say, I cannot wait to see what happens next. And then within seconds, they're like, nope, you don't get to have fun. That's not, Oh, and the wisecracking robot? Out of here with that.
And Alex
Yep.
Apple is out on YouTube. He said hello. Alex Apple, thanks for joining us. Hello, good sir. And let's see. Yeah, I was waiting for him to whip that out. Instead, he showed for 33 to attack. Yeah. And then he got put down right away. And then we see the kids coming out at the bottom of the mountain or whatever that was, and deciding, hey, we got to get to the top, and the kids disagreeing, and actually they kind of split up.
Mm-hmm.
Mim
An
went with
episode. Some,
KB, and Mim kind of went together, and Neil and Fern went together, so they decided to go their separate ways, which is a Star Wars staple. So they're climbing, they're following the crabs. KB kind of has a corrosion issue and malfunctions, and Wim helps her, and they're climbing.
Now,
And
were you two gentlemen as surprised as I was when it turned out like they opened up the back of KB's head? Like, I did not actually see that come. Like, I knew that she had, that she relied on the visor for like a lot of her data. I didn't know she was like basically part android. That threw me off.
in Attack
yeah, I
on
thought it was
Show,
like, is that Geordi on Star Trek?
yeah, with the
Visor on his face.
Mhm.
Yeah, I kind of thought it was just something like that, where
Yeah.
it wasn't her whole brain,
Right? What other how bad was this accident that she was supposedly in? Holy moly's.
Attack on Show makes a good point. It may help define the character. Perhaps he's just not good with it. Maybe no training with the lightsaber. That's a very good point. And maybe Jude Law did say his favorite episode of the season was episode 7, which we'll be getting next week, because he said it gives away everything about his character. So I do think we're going to learn a lot about Dash, Jod / Crimson Jack next week. So, definitely.
I've been looking forward to a little bit of lore and backstory on him, so that'll be cool.
Yeah. And then he also loved the giant stop animation crab. Great throwback. That was cool how they handled that. I have
Mhm.
some issues with this episode, but that was a pretty cool effect. They did a good job with that.
I will say I kind of saw that coming though.
I'm glad they did it because so many times in Star Wars it's like, hey, they're the indigenous species, so we'll be their friend and they'll help us. Ewoks and in Ahsoka they did it. It's always, hey, make friends with the indigenous things and we'll be good.
Porgs until Chewie ate them.
Yeah. And then this
Yeah.
time it's like, hey, let's follow these nice little crabs. They mimic us and it's cool. And then, oh no, we're in trouble. I think we're food, and they go taking off.
Actually, wasn't it basically the Ewoks too? They're trying to they were gonna eat them until C-3PO was like their kind of god or whatever.
Yep. Oh yeah.
I felt like I know you guys liked it a little more than I did, but I felt like it was and then storytelling the whole episode. It was just like, all right, they had to separate. Yeah, you see how they all came out different pipes at the bottom when they flew out
Yeah.
too?
Yeah.
It was like, well, didn't they all go down the same way? Did Luke, how Luke when Luke fell through?
I was thinking the
Bespin,
same thing after Empire Strikes Back, yeah.
yeah, they just all found their own hole or whatever.
I guess.
And then they had to mix the personalities because they really hadn't separated them yet. It was always Fern and KB and Neil and Wim.
Mhm.
They were always those two. So they had to do that just to make the team gel a little better. And while it had to happen, I could see it happening. I could it wasn't like surprising. You know what I mean? So it was kind of predictable. Predictable, that's the word. It was kind of predictable. And the not feeling like it was planned in the overall plot, more like this is a situation that happened and we needed to have some danger or something. So, and then this happened, and then that. That's just how I felt about this episode. Maybe I'm fast forwarding to my review. I didn't
And
wait.
Attack on Show says it was a great character growth episode. Different interactions. In the end, they utilized what they learned. The ship renewal was awesome. Loved the design. I did like when they blew the hull off and it was kind of a smaller, sleeker ship. Like they had it armored, because we did learn at the beginning that the pirates have these armored ships. So it kind of took the armor off. And, I thought this episode was good, not great. I thought it was a kind of a step back from what we've been getting, which was shocking to me when I saw that Bryce Dallas Howard was the director, because almost every Star Wars episode she's directed has been one of my favorites of the season.
Yes.
And I think
The Mandalorian episodes were top tier.
Yep. I think a lot of it, like I did, you know what else? I want to mention this too before we forget. Jod's speech when he was in front of the pirates was great too. I mean, Jude Law is doing such a great job on this. He's taking this role seriously. He wants to, do a great job, and he is. It's funny when he called Brutus, "Oh, you're a good first mate," or whatever, and just angering people up. And like once again, he's got this never-ending credits, guys. Who's with me? And I expect him to be like, we how many times have we heard this? We're not falling for it. But they did the right thing. They're like, okay, you take us there, and if you're lying, we've got this airlock right here, which was very reminiscent to me of Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2, when they
I
were
thought
pushing
so,
people out
too.
of the airlock.
And I assume it's space pirate version of Walking the Plank.
That is exactly what I assume too, yes.
Also, Keith, I think something more important that we need to discuss here. Why was Space Urkel still alive?
I don't know.
I mean, come on. I was promised that he died in an acid bath, and now this is uncalled for.
Was you supposed to keep your voice? Because it almost sounded like you did.
Really?
He doesn't seem like a hardened pirate.
No. He sounds like he's somebody that was a stowaway, and he just he's still alive because he's always the guy in the back. Yeah, what he said.
He reminds me of oh my god, what is the little thing that hovers around Jabba? I can't remember his name.
Oh, that thing.
Oh, the little
That's who he reminds me of.
There you go.
Well, he'll be the one who sends him out the airlock. It'll hit the button, and then we go, "Oh, did I do that?"
And Attack on Show says even pirates have nerds. That is true.
I guess so. Well, I mean, but aren't pirates basically just giant nerds by default? So they're like, hold on, is that in the rules?
They're all concerned about the rules all of a sudden. Well, all right, start the plasma. And what was his name? Brutus.
Mm-hmm.
In the first episode, I was like, wow, that's some great effects. The way that Brutus looks. He didn't look the same this episode. He looked a little more, I don't know, a little less great. Maybe, his like mouth wasn't moving as fluently. I don't know. I wasn't impressed with the as impressed with the special effects as I was in the first episode. That's all I'm saying.
I thought it looked fine. I didn't really notice it. I'll have to watch it again, maybe.
Yeah, same. I did not notice, but was it a CG or a costume? I don't recall.
No, this was definitely a costume.
Oh,
if
all
that
right.
was, then that's another problem.
I think Brutus has looked terrible from the beginning.
Yeah, Brutus he would more look like Fruit Brute.
Yeah.
Way too stiff.
If you guys get a chance, check out the channel Pitch Meeting. He does he did like a pitch for New Hope, and he was describing the cantina scene. He's like, normal patrons of a bar, like a robot, an alien, a werewolf, Satan.
Normal people.
Normal people.
Yeah, and then honestly, they Neil and Fern get up to the ship, or they're climbing to the ship, and then they're hauling it off to the junk, which I was kind of like, why would they just junk a giant freighter like that? I guess maybe because they're a pleasure thing. They just want to get the garbage out of the way.
Get the junk out, yeah. I assume the same thing. One thing I do want to mention about that, so I will give this to Fern. It was really cool of her to still look out for her friends. You could tell that, again, going back to what Attack on Show said earlier in the chat, that this is definitely a character growth episode. And you could tell that definitely with her. She was probably feeling guilty about what KB said to her, that, she never thinks about anyone but herself. It's always her, and she's the one that's been getting them into trouble. And it'd be nice if she listened for a change. And she did. She listened to Neil, realized that he's like, I can't climb that. I can't do that. My legs aren't as long as yours. And she found a way to make it work. I love that she was able to think on the spot.
Your spider-like legs.
Her spider legs, right. And so, yeah, I like that. I like the fact that she didn't just, get frustrated with him. And she's like, all right, we're going to both get to the top. And I like that. That was nice.
It was.
I really did like it when KB told her off, too, by the way.
Mm-hmm. It needed to happen.
And Dave was right. Even though this did need to happen to kind of push the plot, because they're going to gel much more of a team now, because I'm assuming KB has the coordinates for Ad-Adin. Jod
Yeah, she
has the
said she's got 'em
coordinates.
memorized.
Yeah, Jod has the coordinates for Ad-Adin. So there's going to be pirates and kids converging on Ad-Adin. Can't say I know no At-Atin. Sorry, I haven't said it yet, so I had to. So I'm looking forward to the next episode. This was another short episode. But once again, they're kind of structuring it like, here's some things we have to get done, and then as soon as they're leaving the planet, okay, it's the end of the episode, we'll continue next week, which I like. But I do think there could have been a little more to this episode, because I did like KB and Fern kind of disagreeing, Neil and Wim kind of disagreeing. But it felt like it was just too quick. They would have argued a little longer, in my opinion, and then kind of went their separate ways. And sometimes, child actors, they've been good in this, don't get me wrong. But this episode showed some of the shortcomings of them. Trying to do, scenes where, they're emotional and stuff. It doesn't always hit that well. And I think they tried to go too much into that for me. And I was kind of like, not a good choice. But I still liked this episode. Don't get me wrong. I just thought there was a few. Oh, and Attack on Show says kids get over things quicker than adults. That's true. They definitely don't hold grudges like some adults do. What's up, buddy?
The multi-gram patient test is multi-stage test. Chat. The multi-gram patient test, multi-stage test gets harder throughout the stages.
Those were certainly all words.
All right, buddy. Did you
Yes,
see
they
us?
were.
Show your shirt, dude. Check out a model for
Sure,
stand up. Here, let me lift you up.
That.
Oh,
is the
wow,
best
cool.
shirt he
Right
owns.
You know,
Oh yeah, buy it now.
By the way,
Is there some sort of link they can go to in the
just
chat?
went there. Thanks, buddy.
This was sponsored by Sprite. Yo, everyone!
Attack on Show said cool shirt.
Yo, everyone! Type Sprite in the chat. Everyone, type Sprite.
Uh-huh.
And something magical will happen.
Yeah!
Sprite
Oh.
will be shown in the chat as
Yeah,
a word that you
do
type.
it!
It's amazing. Crazy stuff. But, once again, you know, I think this episode had some good. I did like Jod's speech. I liked, you know, Attack on... Sully's going to be very happy, Attack on Show. Thank you. You know, we got the Jod speech. We kind of got the kids working together, finally seeming to be a team. We got them, you know, remembering to blow the hole off. Remembering that. It was so funny because as soon as I saw the previously on Skeleton Crew, and they're like, don't ever hit that button. It blows up the thing or whatever. I'm like,
Yeah.
okay, that's coming into play today. I'm glad they reminded me of it.
And like what Attack on Show said there, I'm glad the wire melted down to be the perfect size needed.
Well,
Yeah.
remember, she stuck it in the ground, and then they poured the molten liquid into it, and he instantly pulled it out and did not burn his fingers off. So, some magical cooling
Right.
dirt.
Not only was he able to pull it out and not burn his fingers, but and to go back into what Attack on Show was saying about being the perfect size, he didn't have to like sand it down. You know, pulled it out, plucked it in, pretty much worked right off the bat. Which, like I said, I was legitimately surprised that she's like mostly a robot. I do appreciate the backstory. I always appreciate more backstory for you know, understanding these characters, and I like that we find out a little bit more about her. I'd say that KB and Neil are probably my two favorite characters. Just like Neil, just the most precious little boy in the world. Please save him no matter what. Wim's kind of annoying, and Fern's kind of annoying.
You know, this is Attack on Show said, I thought I was going to hate Neil's character based on design before the show started. I think he's my favorite. They've done a great job with him. Agreed.
Yeah.
I really thought they were going to make him too cutesy in this stuff, and they've done, you know, he's held fast to his beliefs in front of his, you know, friends thinking otherwise, and it's been really nice. And then we got Scotty on YouTube. He said, for me, it's not meant to be some big, epic, complex tale. It is what it is, a fun, Goonies-type frolic across the galaxy from a kid's perspective. 100%. We're not arguing that. We have, I think for the most part, have thoroughly enjoyed this series. Doug and I a lot more than Dave, but even Dave, who is, for lack of a better term, our resident hater, he's he's enjoyed it too. So we have had fun. I just thought this episode, after last week's episode, which I really enjoyed, I thought this was just a little step back. But once again, overall, definitely enjoying Skeleton Crew. I think it's been one of the better Star Wars, you know, shows on Disney Plus.
It's been fun, and it has
It's hard,
been.
you know.
Go ahead.
Well, the next one is gonna be Andor, and so you know, this is like when we start talking Andor season 2, you know, this will just blow people away.
Well, this is definitely. I think this was required. This show was definitely needed to sort of whet people's appetite, get them in the mood for more Star Wars again. Because if they would have ended it with the Acolyte and been like, "Aren't you looking forward to more Star Wars?" Even diehard Andor fans probably would have been like, "I don't know, I'm kind of good."
And Attack on Show
I can
said,
wait.
I'm just happy to be excited each week for Star Wars content.
Yeah,
Absolutely, sir.
absolutely.
that count as 2?
Yes.
Absolutely, it does. Doug, you're 2 behind.
Yeah, no, I'm not playing that game.
Game?
You get 1.
Was this a game to you?
I did not see anybody cash anything in, so
Good point.
Well, with us, we don't have to.
Oh,
That's
Attack on Show
that's the
says,
caveat.
sadly,
anyway.
Attack on Show said, sadly, I think people did that with this show. Acolyte killed a lot of Star Wars fans. You're not wrong. I haven't seen
Yeah.
the ratings and stuff, but I know it was not in the top 10 shows the first couple weeks of its streaming, which is sad because this has been a quality show. Especially, it's almost, it's kid friendly, kid oriented, but it's okay for adults. And I'm really hoping that a lot of kids, Sully has promised he's going to watch it with me. We haven't started it yet because he's been busy with Christmas presents, PS5s and MetaQuest gift cards and everything else he got. That we've been a little too busy to start, but I think he's going to enjoy it, and I hope.
Okay,
this really
we get
does.
it. Santa likes your kid best. Whatever. Oh.
And he also got he got a Not Your Status Quo shirt, and he got a. I haven't looked, but I haven't seen major news about the viewership of the show. If it was up there, they'd be bragging. Yeah, I haven't seen it in a few weeks, but after the first 2 weeks, it did not crack the top 10, which I think
That is a shame.
Exactly what you said. After the Acolyte, people are like either canceling Disney Plus or like, oh, another Star Wars show. No, thank you. I don't need it. And they're missing out because this has been entertaining.
The other thing that I'm noticing, and I know that I've mentioned this in previous streams, but I've noticed that people have gotten so used to binging entire shows that they will all but ignore a week by week show and wait for it to complete and then watch it all in one binge session. And I wouldn't be surprised if that was happening now. That happened actually. A couple of my friends, I was telling them how good The Mandalorian was, and oh yeah, I'll get to it, eventually.
This was
It's
season
like,
1, right?
oh, yeah, season 1.
Okay, good.
And again, it was released week by week, but people got so used to from the Netflix idea of let me watch everything in a weekend that when it's like, yeah, you tell them, oh yeah, it comes out, this Thursday, and then you have to wait an entire week for, oh no, I'm not doing that. Oh. And so while we're excited week after week to watch something new, what's going to happen next, they're going to be like, I'll wait about a month and then I'll watch it. And then all of a sudden you're going to be getting like text messages. Oh my gosh, you'll never believe what happened on Skeleton Crew. Yeah, I saw a month ago.
Like, and then a lightsaber. And then he got taken up. Yeah, we know.
Yeah, I tried telling you.
But I do hope it is. We've talked about this before. One of the reasons that Andor was renewed for season 2 was because it got, more and more viewership every week. Word of mouth was spreading. That was a good show. It got more viewers, so it was pretty exciting. And, where The Acolyte did the opposite. It started out pretty strong and then just completely tanked because, well, we know why it tanked.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, the true test is whether or not fatherly fandom covers it. And I haven't seen any new content. Well, he does have a new kid who's like a month old, probably, so... But it would be nice to hear what fatherly fandom has to think of this series.
Mm-hmm.
I think he would enjoy it too because this does harken back to more, original Star Wars prequel series. Some people enjoy more than myself. But, I mean, overall, it's good quality entertainment. It's what I would expect out of a Star Wars show for the most part. I love Andor, and I can't wait for season 2. But this feels, more like something that the whole family can get into and become Star Wars fans. Where Andor, I think that's more for us who grew up on Star Wars and now are older and kind of like the grittier stuff at times too.
Mm-hmm.
Everything doesn't have to be gritty, but it was nice kind of getting that feel in Star Wars of what it's like for common people while the Empire ruled. It was great.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, sometimes I I love the fun and the whimsy and the magic of Star Wars, but at the same time, I also love the world building and the grit and the darkness, the reality of that, the reality of a fake universe with space wizards.
Real to them.
And
But yeah, I like the deeper plots that you got to think about a little bit.
Yeah.
So, that's what Andor is to me.
Mm-hmm.
And Scotty said, apologies. I appreciate all of your different perspectives. The comment wasn't meant to be directed at y'all. It was just more a comment on how I'm viewing it. No, absolutely, young man.
Absolutely. Everybody has their own opinion, and it's equally valid.
That's right. There's no wrong opinions. It's all subjective. People like what they like, and that's kind of what we talk about. And that's why there's three of us, because we have differing opinions. Sometimes we agree, not often. I'm more of the silver linings guy. Dave's more of the not inclined to like things as much unless it's a Sony villain film. And, Doug's kind of middle of the road.
And Doug thinks Madam Web was the #1 movie and should have won every Oscar ever.
Where's your steelbook? I don't see it behind you anymore.
It's
right here. It never went away. It's got its own special place.
And Attack on Show said, I love Skeleton Crew, and it's done an amazing job of bringing the innocence back to Star Wars. Takes me back to being a child watching them. Agreed. I remember loving Ewok Adventure as a kid because it was just fun. This takes me back to those days. Yeah, you're right. And that's why I'm looking forward to watching it with my kid. My kid is not into Star Wars like I am. And I always, he goes to the movies with us when they reissue. We saw Return. We saw that. We'll probably, I think Revenge of the Sith, if you can believe this, Revenge of the Sith is going to be 20 years old this year. So we'll probably go see the 20th anniversary of Revenge of the Sith, but he just hasn't been into it. So I'm hoping that Skeleton Crew will kind of help bridge that gap just a little bit. But
next thing you know, he'll be in there on a review of Andor really quick. He'll be giving sharper analysis than the rest of us, because his mind is a lot sharper.
He is a smart little kid. And then obviously the kids escape. I really enjoyed them, like we talked about, working together. They kind of jumped on those hoverbots that were doing it. Fern was able to control it slightly, but it wasn't like a clean getaway either. They kind of were flipping all around. The thing went down in the ground. They finally got the kids. They got on the ship. But it was nice. They're trying to fly away, and the crab threw something at them, kind of knocked them off course, and got them landed to where that giant garbage munching machine, I don't know what else to call it, kind of trapped them.
Paleo of the metal variety.
Exactly. Excellent analogy, Dave. And and then they have to be like, you know what, we got to hit that button because we're basically trapped. I thought they were going to run out of the ship at one point, and then it was nice, they kind of blow the hull off, and they kind of come out with a sleeker ship, and then obviously they take off, and the episode ends. So we got what's coming next. Oh wow.
Yeah.
It is showing a different chat. That is crazy. I'm gonna have to check that out. So don't bother the chat on the screen. It seems to be someone else's, but it's all good. But then we got thinking we have two things basically going on right now. Well, three things. We got the kids obviously trying to get back to Ad-Adin. They got a ship. They got the coordinates. Without SM-33, hopefully they can fly it back there. We got the pirates with Jod, who have the coordinates for Ad-Adin, definitely wanting to get there to get this limitless Old Republic credits. And then we have the parents on Ad-Adin, who we didn't see this episode, but we know last episode, are trying to find a way to reach out to the kids, bring them back somehow, since the robot overlords are not helping in any way. And Attack on Show says they can bring back Jake Lloyd to play Vader now. No.
I don't think he wants to act anymore. Last I heard, he's pretty much kind of like just doing his own thing.
Then he says the kids are going to get back just as their parents leave to try to find them. Next
Oh,
season
yeah.
will be the kids trying to find their parents.
Oh, that would be funny.
Well, one thing I do like about this show is one thing they said before the season was that it was a complete thought. You know, the whole season was a complete thought. So if there is like a season 2, it might go in a different direction. So I mean, if it's a complete thought, would it have a lingering thought like, you know, them leaving as the kids arrive? You know,
No,
would
probably
that qualify?
not.
Yeah.
I do think basically what's going to happen is the kids are going to get back and realize that the pirates are coming too. And they're going to help coordinate a defense against, you know, probably get the robots involved. And they'll be sort of, you know, hailed as heroes a little bit from what they did. And, you know, the parents will be less Stepford Wivesy and, you know, appreciate the kids a little more. And maybe, you know, I did like when KB called Wim Jedi. After he helped her get ready. And she's like, okay, Jedi, or whatever. And I was like, that's sweet. You know, she's...
That made him happy.
Yes. And maybe we'll see more of that. I mean, just because this is a one contained story doesn't mean we can't have more stories with the kids and everything else. Because there's a lot of times, you know, a book is written or a movie is made and it's self-contained, but it's so popular, they're like, what else could these kids do? And they couldn't
I
find
also like that. I also like that Wim was like, you know, when KB was worried about, I'm not going to have any friends left if, you know, if this all goes south. Wim's like, what are you talking about? Me and Neil will be your friend. We think you're cool.
Yep. And we kind of thought that would happen when the show came out, that even though they were separate groups of best friends, by the end they would kind of all come together. Yep. And they've
got this huge adventure in common. No one else on their planet. If they do end up staying on their planet and growing up to be analysts or whatever, you know, nobody else is going to have the same experience that they are. You know, you don't. It's very difficult to go back to such a mundane life after having experienced what they've experienced.
Attack on Show clarified his thought for you, Dave. He said, it's a Disney complete thought, meaning they have completely thought of ways to tell unlimited stories and sell merchandise if it works.
Merchandising.
Get your Neo plushie here. Get your giant crab plushie. Get your Urkel pirate plushie.
Oh, God.
You know what's going to happen when the pirates reach Adat? They're going to unleash the Imperial Walkers on them because that's where they're made.
That's right. They won't know what hit them. They'll be like, good God, where are all these AT-ATs from?
That's the secret treasure.
Yes, that's what it is.
Oh, I'm sorry. You guys thought that we printed coins here? No. we make weapons.
Oh,
we
and
crush things, big mechanical things.
Curtis Good said he'll be riding high on that Jedi compliment for a while. Yes, he will. You can just see that sort of extra little bump in his step after she said it. Yeah, you know, you got to wonder that we have 2 episodes left. We do know, according to Jude Law, that we're going to learn a lot about his character in episode 7. So I don't know if we're getting sort of a flashback episode where it talks about his days as a pirate, his day as a bounty hunter, everything we've kind of learned about him throughout this series up to date, and kind of get a better understanding of who he is. Is he force sensitive? Did he do Jedi training? Is he a Sith apprentice? You know, is he a bounty hunter? Is he a pirate? Is he, who knows, a former youngling that's just trying to survive any way he can?
That's honestly what I think it is. I think it's very reminiscent of, and I know that we've already mentioned this multiple times, of Guardians of the Galaxy. I'm betting that he was picked up by a bunch of pirates as a kid. Sound like anything familiar? Raised by them. probably told one time or another that if he didn't succeed in stealing, they'd all eat him because they ain't never tasted Terran before.
Well, here's my question then with this. And the shows have kind of gone in this pattern, like the Acolyte did. Right when the Acolyte picked up, remember? Right when it started to pick up, we were going, all right, this could get good. What did it do?
Immediately dropped that ball like it was the heaviest friggin' shot put ball they've ever held.
Right. And it was because of a flashback right at that moment, a flashback episode. Is this going to be a flashback episode? Is it going to start where Jod was a kid or whatever he got?
I wouldn't be mad this time around if they did a flashback because it feels earned this time. Whereas in the Acolyte, they just kind of jammed it in out of nowhere and they spent the entire episode in a flashback. It wasn't like just flashing here and there while progressing the story.
Right.
Which that's what I think was one of the downfalls of the Acolyte.
If they do it like Creature Commandos, where you're kind of getting those flashback and that lore
while
as my
still
kids call
progressing the story.
Exactly. That could work. And now Scotty wants to know, what do you think about the talks of them bringing in a cameo from another Star Wars property? That's one thing I don't like about other Disney Plus Star Wars shows. If it makes sense, it's fine. It doesn't, I can't see any cameo making much sense here. We kind of got the pirate from the Mandalorian kind of in it. That's not a huge cameo, and he kind of makes sense to the story. But if all of a sudden Luke Skywalker appears at Ad-Adden or something, that's definitely not something that works. It's got to make sense to the story, and none of that makes sense to the story. So, I would prefer them to be like Andor and not have a cameo at all, and just tell a great story, than try to shoehorn in a character that we all love.
I mean.
Wait, Attack on Show said, Baby Rey Skywalker.
Oh, they're going to go to Jakku?
Oh, dear God.
That's where she was.
And Attack on Show says they need the combination to the planet shield. Is it a shield, or was it just like a barrier? Because the kids got out at no problem. Oh, the pirates take her to Jakku.
You know, with the wild trip that they've had, that wouldn't be out of the realm of possibility.
Yeah, we're getting.
If they would have stuck with, the story that Rey's parents were like kind of dirtbags and just kind of like gambling away their money and everything, then it would have been great to have like the kids have to be in some sort of like intergalactic daycare center for like latchkey kids, and Rey's like, oh, hey, what's going on? Yeah, I spend a lot of time here. My parents are working.
Here's your dad, Nick Palpatine, over here.
Nick Palpatine. I'm sorry, what'd you say your name was? Nick Palpatine. Don't ask. I'm like a clone or something. I don't even know.
I'm a failed attempt at something else. Just let me have my kid.
You see this ear on the back of my head? Yeah.
Wasn't your nickname Snoke in high school? No, it wasn't. Take that back. It's funny, they're talking about Jakku and everything. Marvel is coming out with the Battle of Jakku comics, kind of talking about the whole battle that went on there. It'll be interesting to see what will become canon for all of that. And Scotty says, for me, The Acolyte has the best fight choreography of all the Star Wars movies and shows. Unfortunately, that was about it. It did have some good fight choreography.
It did. I'd say one of my favorite episodes from The Acolyte is still with that dumb reveal. You didn't know it was me, but it was still excellent fight choreography. I will say that my mouth did drop open when he lightsaber impaled Jackie 3 times. Bam, bam, bam. I'm like, oh, all right. I really thought she was going to last longer, but I guess not.
Attack on Show said, whoa, spoiler alert.
Okay. Like you were ever going to watch it.
He may hate watch it. It's definitely not worth his time. That is one.
No. But no, yeah, I agree. It did have some pretty darn good fight choreography. In fact, one of the things that I praised that last episode for was their hallway fight scene, which any good Star Wars has a good hallway fight. And I gotta say, I did like Sexy Sith versus whatever his name was. Can't remember any of their names now.
Squid Games
From the
guy.
Acolyte. I mean,
Huh?
why would you?
Squid Games guy.
Yeah, Squid Games guy. So Squid Games versus Sexy Sith. I mean, they were doing pretty darn good. You know, like I really enjoyed the choreography. Them, you know, fighting with each other as they're moving. It was pretty darn good. The show by itself, though,
And
not something that I'm in a hurry to watch again.
And Attack on Show said no, didn't make it past 2 episodes. The thing we're missing out on, I don't think you guys really realize the gravity of what we're missing out. You kind of hinted at it with what you said, Doug. The sexy Sith. He was going to start losing his sexiness because the evil was going to start turning him ugly.
Yeah, okay.
And then seeing Osha like turn away from him because he's no longer sexy Sith. It was masterpiece in the making. And because you guys bashed it so hard on this show, they canceled it. We missed out on all of that.
It's because we bashed it, right? Okay.
And the drop in ratings and the terrible reviews and stuff, all of those things.
Uh-oh. We got a Gilbert Gottfried.
And of course, we've got a 5 minutes of Gilbert Gottfried. Thanks, Sierra, for cashing that in. Because whenever I think of The Acolyte, I think I want to go Gilbert on it. Because for God's sakes, who was crapping in my mouth and calling it a Sunday? The Acolyte. I've never once even thought of watching a minute of that episode or any of that show again. For Christ's sakes, why did they do that to us? Kathleen Kennedy, Leslie Headland, whoever was a part of that, should be beaten and flogged.
For those of you wondering what Keith is doing, this is something over on Twitch. We the more that you engage, if you're subscribed, you earn channel points, and you can use those channel points for different things, including making us speak and do a review of a show in a goofy voice.
And mine is Gilbert Gottfried, because he's the greatest comedian of all time. So thanks. And it sounds like Attack on Show may be heading out. Cheers. We always appreciate when you drop in. Can't wait to see more of your things. I'm looking forward to your review of Aladdin 2349 or whatever it is. Can't remember. But I saw it and I haven't had time to watch it, but I'm going to.
Hey, let's catch a movie this year sometime, Attack on Show.
There's a few good ones coming out. We got Captain America in like 6 weeks. We've got Superman. We got Thunderbolts. We got Fantastic Four. And little did you know, Blade is coming out. Scratch that. We don't know when that movie's coming out.
Actually coming out in 2099.
Yeah, right.
I was looking at an old list. Attack on Show says he's down. Excellent.
Nice. That'll be awesome. And by the way, for those of you, if you did not know, Attack on Show has his own YouTube channel. Very awesome. He's on TikTok. He's on all the things. Check him out. Attack on Show. Great channel.
It may be hard to find because if you search Attack on Show, it comes up with some other things. But make sure you find him because he's a wonderful YouTuber and a great all-around guy. And yes, Blade is in a race against the Batman 2. One of those movies will come out at some time, probably.
Gee, I wonder which one will be better.
That
song's never gonna leave your head.
Never. I love it so much. I sometimes just listen to it on repeat while I work because I want to fight everyone I work with.
Yeah, okay. And you're totally not the ADD one of the group.
What? Squirrel.
But any other thoughts, guys? Maybe what's next or any more thoughts about this episode?
Oh, I think
Well,
we covered. I think what we think is next. I think do we all agree that there's going to be some sort of flashback in this next episode?
oh yeah, I
100%.
definitely think that's happening, because that is we've gotten our character development for the kids in this past episode that was just on Tuesday. So we got to see a little bit more about the kids, where they're at in this journey, how they feel about each other. They're more willing to work together now because we kept hearing all these different alternate names. We know that he can. We know that Jod can apparently use the Force. Lost his lightsaber. That sucks. We need to see why he can use the Force. We need to learn more about what got him in this situation. And I've already told you what I think my what's next for this is. I really do think in his backstory we're going to see something very similar to Peter Quill, a la Guardians of the Galaxy. And I know I hate to keep um, you know, saying that, pointing out these similarities, and also I'm fully aware that he has nothing to do with with this show, but I'm starting to see some things that maybe Disney's like, well, if it worked for Marvel. So no, I really do think we're going to see right after Order 66, youngling, he doesn't really know what to do. Some pirates pick him up and think, oh, maybe we can get a bounty for him. They're looking for Jedi. And then maybe they grow to like him a little bit, and they're like, okay, well,
He proves his worth. The timer just went off, so my 5 minutes.
he can get into tight spaces better than anyone else.
That's what I was about to say.
And Attack on Show says, and an update on the parents' progress. So yeah, hopefully we see.
Oh
a little bit
yeah,
more
yeah.
what they're
I keep
doing.
forgetting about them. They're just not as interesting to me.
They're really. I'm glad they've gotten a little more depth with the last, not this episode, but the one before, because they were paper plate thin leading into that episode. So it's good they got a little bit more. But once again, this is meant to be fun and enjoyable, so I don't expect too much. So it's nice when we get a little bit more like that. So, do you think it is time to rate this episode?
Well, if you
Yes.
guys don't have anything else, then yeah, sure.
No, I think that's it.
Are we
And
sti-
don't be afraid in the chat to go ahead and rate it on the Doug scale. If you're not familiar with the Doug scale, it's 1 through 10, 5 being average. If you rated a 7, that's not average like I used to think. 5 is an average. So
Anything below 5 is probably bad. Anything above 5 is pretty good.
right. So I guess I can go first because last time we went in the opposite order and I still had the lowest score, I think. So, so we'll start. I can start. And yeah, going back to what I was saying earlier, I felt like it was kind of and then storytelling. And yeah, like Keith was saying, it's below. Not that I'm a huge fan of Bryce Dallas Howard, but it was still below what she had been, what we're used to from her in a Star Wars series. So I don't know. Maybe she had some other ideas. I don't know. Maybe is she directing this next one, or is this the only one she's got?
This is the only one she did.
Okay, well, so it was okay. I still enjoyed the show. I really liked that KB put Fern in her place. I thought she needed to be reined in. I liked that part of the show. The kids they were less annoying in this episode than they had been to me in all the other episodes. You know how, kids can be distracting in a show. And this one, was mostly focused on them anyway. But, it didn't bother me as much. And of course, Jude Law, like you guys said earlier, he's incredible. He's been doing a great job. That speech he gave, it wasn't Stellan Skarsgård level, but it was good. So I think I'm going to rate this episode a 6. It's above average. I'm still enjoying it, but it hasn't reached that 7 level for me.
Nice. Before you start, Doug, Attack on Show says, I think the parents will be the ones to discover more truth about the planet. I agree. They're going to find out a bunch of things before the kids get back. Then he also says this episode is a 6.5 out of 10, and he gives Dave a 1 out of 10 for not being a Bryce fan.
That's fine. Everybody has their own opinion.
And then, just one more
Oh,
rating
go ahead.
before you go. Scotty says
Alright.
my rating is a 6.9. I would love to see
Okay.
Dr. Afra appear somewhere and or get her own show.
Excellent comics. I love them, dude.
I would love that too. The Indiana Jones of the Star Wars universe. She's amazing. She's a character who has potential for a great show. All of us who have
Dude,
read
just-
the comics 100% agree with you.
Just to see her like her evil psycho robots on screen. Oh, that'd be amazing. I'd love that.
And I want Karen, what's her name from The Boys, to play her. What's her name? Karen Fumiya?
You're in Fukuhara.
Fukuhara,
yeah.
yes.
Oh, yeah. That's a good pick, Keith. Yeah, that'd be good.
Someone posted it on Twitter or X or whatever it's called. I saw it and I was like, I've never needed anything more than this live casting. So
Yeah, she's amazing.
You guys make that happen, Disney Star Wars. Let's go.
all right, Doug, you ready to go, sir?
I am. And let me tell you guys, I have been liking most of Skeleton Crew, but this one felt, while I appreciate what it was trying to do, it felt a little dull to me compared to the other episodes. And I know this is sacrilege, go ahead, roast me in the comments, but it felt to me like filler. I didn't feel like much happened. Kind of similar to Dave, where he said that it felt like an and then episode. I did feel like it was like they were using it to get to the next thing. Like it was just there to help advancing, so we knew how the kids got off that planet and on to the next adventure, or maybe potentially, as we think, to set up the backstory for Jod. Like, I mean, other than that, it was fine. I'll agree the kids were not nearly as annoying. In fact, actually, I'd say their acting was probably some of the best that I've seen so far. I really thought that Fern was going to be, just insanely annoying this entire episode, and she wasn't. She definitely chilled. I love that we got that we had a moment where KB kind of like broke down for the entire series so far. She's been like, she's been on it. She's been like ready to go, and she's got the answers, and she's confident. But as her mechanics start breaking down, her confidence starts to go down, and now she has to rely on other people where she hasn't really had to do that so far. She's been the one that you can rely on. So it was nice to see that sort of moment of what am I? It's like where she needed help from the others, and I thought that was nice. It was nice to gain that information about her character. I also liked the fact that we had the friend groups separate, so it was Neil and Fern, and then we got to see Wim and KB. It was nice to see a little separation, so that was okay. The whole crab monster thing, I kind of saw that coming as soon as I saw the little indigenous crabs. I'm like, oh, there, don't trust them. I thought the shedding of the outer skin of the ship was weird. I don't understand it. Like, I don't get what happened. Is that like some sort of pirate ship feature, like in case we happen to be grabbed by a garbage thing, then we're going to blow off the entire outer layer of the ship and then fly? I don't know. It seemed very overly convenient. I don't know. To me, it was dumb. It was a dumb way to get out of that situation.
The ship is like an onion, Doug.
I guess.
Let me remind you of the opening crawl from episode 1. These pirates boldly brand their armored hulls as a sign to all ships: surrender or die. So it was just an armor plating protection for a pirate ship.
Okay, sure. But yeah, it wasn't the worst thing I've seen. It's definitely not in the levels of, like The Acolyte and Dumb. And it's still watchable. It wasn't a show where I was sitting there picking up my phone. It felt like this needed to be combined with another episode, because to me it felt a little bit of a waste. Like the fact that now I'm sitting here thinking, I cannot believe I've got to wait an entire week to find out what actually happens next, because it didn't really feel like, oh man, amazing cliffhanger. What's going to happen next? Jod gets captured and the kids cry. Oh, cool. What happens next? You got to wait a week. So, I'm gonna give this a 6 out of 10. That's about what I'm feeling. Not the worst. Could have been better.
You know, some of the highlights for this was definitely the Jod speech to the pirates when he was basically being, tried by them for all the things that he's done. I really enjoy Jude Law and pretty much anything he does, and he has excelled in this. I did like the fact that they split the kids up. They're kind of bringing them together as a team, and as Attack on Show said, separating them from Jod, because I think that's an important piece for moving forward.
Yeah.
This was a short episode. It was only 33 minutes with credits, which seemed to rush a few things.
Credits are like 15 minutes long.
Yeah. And
like an anime.
It just overall kind of the character building that we got and we needed wasn't the acting from the kids wasn't necessarily up to snuff, in my opinion. They were still good, but sometimes you want a little better actors to roll with some of those more emotional scenes. But I still really enjoyed it. Don't get me wrong. Oh no, what?
Read the chat.
Oh, it's the equivalent of Ahsoka meeting with Trace.
I don't know if it was that bad. That was pretty bad, though.
Oh, that was such a terrible episode of the Clone Wars.
Episode. I'm sorry.
But once again, to the shock of no one, my rating is going to be a little higher than these guys. I gave last week's an 8.5. I thought it was excellent. This one, I think it's about a 7. I still think it's entertaining. I still think it's good. It had some parts that I kind of question, like putting the molten wires in the sand and, pulling it out instantaneously. I know they were trying to save time, but they could have, had a little more, wait, let's let it cool down for a few minutes. If I shut down, make sure you put it in and all this other stuff. I thought there was things they could do to handle that a little better. And especially, I was shocked when it came up and said directed by Bryce Dallas Howard, because unlike Dave, I'm a huge fan. I think she's great. She's a great actress. Everything she directs seems to be really good. So I just thought this was a little below her standard for an episode, but I still enjoyed it. He did blow on his fingers twice. That is true. So he's got that going.
So did you give it a number? You gave it a number.
A 7, yeah.
It was 7. That's right. Sorry, I had to reel in back to my memory there for a few seconds.
I see.
So
I see how you pay attention to when I talk.
So do you guys think Boba Fett's showing up next week then too?
And the Mandalorian, and Ahsoka, and Luke Skywalker, and Snoke, and Palpatine. They're gonna accidentally travel to Exegol, where they find Vader.
Where they find the best shawarma you can in the galaxy.
Now that would be fantastic.
And they're all just hanging out, in between fights. They're like, "Hey, you guys want some shawarma?"
And she can run from a T-Rex in heels. Who can't run from a T-Rex in heels? Come on. I mean, we all learned that in school, right? Right?
Yeah.
Sure, buddy.
Well, we could go into tangent time for a little bit, because I was thinking about something today, fellow nerds.
Oh?
We got a live chat.
We've got a Daredevil series coming up in March.
Mm-hmm.
We have not gotten a trailer for it yet.
No.
I know you're out there watching, Kevin Feige. You're Dave's buddy. You're watching it. Where's the trailer, dude? Come on. I know you have something put together because you showed it at D23 for everybody that was there that you didn't release. Give us our Daredevil Born Again. You dropped the Friendly Neighborhood Spider-Man thing. Please drop the Daredevil Born Again soon.
So it turns out that they allowed the actual real Daredevil to edit the trailer, and all they got was 10 minutes of a black screen. So,
but it
not
was
much
the best
fun.
10 minutes of black screen you've ever seen.
The last time I talked to him, he was saying it was either going to be the college championship football game or the Super Bowl.
Yes.
But the sound design is amazing. Yeah. It sounds great.
because this season should be very interesting with Muse being the main villain, and it looks like Kingpin and Maddie Murdock might be teaming up a little bit. So they scrapped their entire plan they had earlier with this, and they kind of revamped it to be, as they call it, a little more like the Netflix series, which is definitely a good thing.
Good.
So let's bring it on. Let's get it going.
Now, hopefully, the powers that be that are in charge of making the next, Spider-Man movie, even though I think it's already probably close to being done. I don't even know. I'm not sure where they're at with it.
They haven't even started filming it yet.
They haven't even started?
No.
Good. Maybe this will give them an idea, like, oh, we don't need to do another multiverse thing. We can just have a good grounded thing, and it'll work fine because the fans will like it.
Here's my hope. It was rumored earlier this week that Daredevil is showing up in Avengers Doomsday.
Mm-hmm.
I hope it's a scene with Spider-Man, and people will go bonkers over it, and then they'll be like, you know what, guys? Teaming those two up for a movie might be a great idea. Let's just do it. Because they don't know what they're sitting on. We don't need to see another multiversal Spider-Man movie with Andrew Garfield, Tobey Maguire, and all that. We saw it. It was great. Move on to something else. I know Sony likes to repeat everything ad nauseum until people stop watching it, but please don't do that with this. We don't need that. We need Devil's Reign. Kingpin is mayor. He's outlawed heroes, and he's got like a task force. In the comic books, they were the Thunderbolts, but I don't think they'll use that name. But have villains turn deputized, going out hunting for heroes. That would be fantastic. Make that, and I'll be excited. And yet, Attack on Show said, and Deadpool. Throw in Deadpool, too. I am absolutely okay with that.
Absolutely okay with it.
Imagine Peter perched atop a skyscraper like, I think I outran the police. All right, it's another day in the life of Peter Parker, underpaid photographer. Hey, buddy! Ah! It's Deadpool. What's going on? Your name's Peter Parker? Great!
I wonder if people still remember that. For some reason, I didn't remember it. Did you have someone cast a spell? Oh, well, hey, you know what we need to do? Oh, and Attack on Show says, hey, now, I'll take all the Andrew Garfield Spider-Man I can get. Agreed. I just don't want another multiversal Spider-Man movie where we get all three of them. I was really hoping that if Sony decides to keep making their Sony Spider-Verse, instead of trying to do villain movies without Spider-Man, which only works if it's Colin Farrell dressed up in so much makeup you can't see who he is, called the Penguin, bring Andrew Garfield back, have him be the Spider-Man of that universe, and have him fight Kraven, and have him fight all those things. Make as many of those as you want. But
speaking of which, did you gentlemen hear that apparently there was nothing stopping Sony from using Spider-Man in those movies all along? They didn't have to make a solo Venom movie, Kraven movie. They could have had Spider-Man in these things, and no one knows why they didn't. Nothing was. There's no contract stipulation saying they couldn't.
Yep, they could have been making their own Spider-Man movies, and they decided not to. Maybe
they chose to do this.
And if we would have got Andrew Garfield, like Attack on Show said, in a Venom movie, oh my God, that would have been so much better than what we got. I did like the first Venom. It was entertaining. 2 was okay. 3 was one of the worst things I've seen in a long time, and that includes, Madam Web. So they could have done it, and they didn't, and I don't know why. Some executive, once again, don't trust executives at movie studios. Trust the creative types. They're the ones who have the vision and know what should, know what's good. Executives, they only seem to repeat, you know what did really well? This did really well, so let's imitate it. And then it ends up not doing well, and they're like, well, I thought people liked that sort of thing. Why didn't it do well? Let's try it again. They'll like it this time.
Maybe we just didn't do it right. Let's try it again.
Yeah.
Oh, we hit something that worked once. Let's beat it to death.
Right. Stop, he's already dead.
I hurt my knee.
Thank you for specifying that
Yes.
that was the noise you were making
Yeah.
as you're
I
rocking.
realized that that might be misconstrued. Wanted to make sure that that was the Family Guy knee hurting bit that they've done quite a few times. I always remember Anthony Jeselnik was talking on one of the things. He goes, "Oh, and Seth MacFarlane's here, and you know Seth, if he does something, he's gonna keep doing it over and over and over again."
Yeah.
Tack on show said, "I thought you were Chris Collinsworth calling a Chiefs game."
Or an old Green Bay game with Aaron Rodgers. He really loves Aaron Rodgers.
You mean he hasn't been doing it while he's a Jet?
Have the Jets been on prime time at all? I don't think so.
They have been atrocious this year. I just wish the Packers had another pick, but unfortunately they don't.
You know, I will say I do feel bad for you sports folks, having to like juggle between different streaming services to figure out what is going to show what game. I've had to help my dad with that a couple of times. It's like, no, I think this one's on Netflix. No, I think it's on CBS. I'm pretty sure it's not, Dad.
I just binged it. It says it's on Netflix.
Why do they have the football game on Netflix? Dad, I don't know.
It was funny you say that because LeBron James was interviewed. NBA has always had games on Christmas, and this year the NFL decided to have it. And he was like, you know, this is our day, not the NFL. I love the NFL, but this is our day. I think the football games average like 24 million viewers, where the NBA games average like 5. So sadly, LeBron, I think it is the NFL's day now. You've lost out.
Well, I mean, have you watched the NBA lately? It's like they don't call anything. They don't call
no,
traveling
Dave, I have
or
not.
anything.
Oh,
I'm sorry, I didn't know who I was talking to.
it is true. To get a traveling call, you pretty much have to do a choreographed dance down the thing without dribbling to get it called. And Scotty says, I was super bummed when I heard the Silk series got pulled. Yes, Silk, part of the Spider family, was going to be a show that they were making, and that got pulled. Now, we are getting the Spider Noir series with
Yeah, Nick
Nicolas
Cage.
Cage.
Nick Cage, yes. So hopefully that is good. Once again,
I've seen a couple of photographs people have taken of the set, and the costumes look pretty good. I am looking forward to it. I think if he keeps that same energy that he had in Into the Spider-Verse, it should be good. Should be fun at the very least.
Did you hear what happened to Nick Cage? He had a comic book collection that he kept in his office, and somebody broke in and stole them all, and they said they were like priceless, at least to him.
Really?
But I'm sure they had some value, you know.
wow.
And so he just went online and he basically asked the person to return them.
I hope he gets them back.
I like it. I love it when actors like that, like John Barenthal, when he got the Punisher role, he went out and bought a whole bunch of Punisher comics, you know, and just read them. And
Did you hear the story
I love
about when
when
he
an
did
actor
that?
can immerse. What's that?
When John Barenthal bought the comics, he went into a New York comic book store. He was buying some Punisher comics. And he walked up, and the guy recognized him and said, no. Took some back and brought some others out and said, these are the right ones to read. So whoever that comic book store worker was, thank you. You gave him the right
Yes.
issues because that was the Punisher we needed and wanted.
I love it when the actors get into it like that. They really do their work. Some don't. You know, like some other producers don't. Zack Snyder. But
He read all the Rebel Moon comics before he wrote that.
he wrote all of them. Blood acts.
I think the greatest show of, reading and understanding the character from someone is Dakota Johnson from Madam Web. She obviously read all of the Madam Web comics out there and just such a great understanding of how she could travel to Peru while the girls were hidden out in her apartment for a few hours and forget.
You can't even finish. I can't even finish the statement. It's terrible.
She really understood how a post 9/11 New York would have absolutely no problem with, allowing a person to get onto a plane. The fact that the FBI is looking for them and as part of a kidnapping plot.
Yeah, that'd be no problem at all. You might as well drive that stolen cab all the way to Peru.
Wasn't it an ambulance?
No, the ambulance came later. It was a taxi cab.
Right.
That's right. The
yeah.
ambulance is what she drove through the wall.
Drove through the parking garage
Yes.
that somehow came out of a billboard. Yeah.
That scene blew me away, man. That was so amazing.
Funny you mentioned that because then there was suddenly a bomb right after that scene.
Yeah, the movie.
Oh.
I just
oh,
thank
boy.
God that people did not go to those movies in droves, so we don't have to worry about, I don't know, what a Chameleon movie being next, or
Some Sony
Hobgoblin
executives watching
movie.
right now, like, guys, we're not done. Chameleon movie. Why didn't we think of this?
and of course they were going to make an El Muerto movie with Bad Bunny at one point. So do not let these people make any more movies. They have no idea what they're doing. Just please stop.
I say the only thing that I would be sad about out of this whole situation is after those movies, especially after Craven bombed at the theaters. We went to go see that. What was it? November?
No, it was December.
Yeah.
It was in December.
It was
It was early December.
People probably definitely lost their jobs right before Christmas.
I just hope they don't mess up the Spider-Verse. You got to stick the landing on that one. That's the third that's the third in the trilogy. Please don't blow that one.
All we can do is hope. That's why I said hopefully somebody is paying attention to the way they do Daredevil and learns something from it.
Yeah, we're getting a lot of Daredevil coming up. We talked about Born Again, which is coming out in March, season 1.
Mhm.
Daredevil is showing up in Your Friendly Neighborhood Spider-Man. According to rumors, he's going to be in Avengers Doomsday. So hopefully this is the couple years of Daredevil, because he is so incredibly played by Charlie Cox.
Attack on Show. We'll have Michael Morbius pop up at the end.
Michael Keaton.
Yeah, Michael Keaton. Yeah, exactly. Oh boy. Yeah, that was.
And he says,
a
I'm not
super
sold
move.
Daredevil is going to be good. I'm never sold until I actually see it. I try to be positive, and hearing what Vincent D'Onofrio said about them, overhauling the entire show and making it a little more Netflixy, I'm hoping it's good. And, once again, we haven't seen a trailer, so that's just me being, silver lining. Yeah, silver lining Keith. But it's hard to imagine. And especially, he was good showing up in that Echo series. His scene was really good. What else am I thinking? Maybe that's it. But hopefully, these things go well. Spider-Man 4 will be, Daredevil, Kingpin, and all of that. We don't need any more multiversal Spider-Man shows. Spider-Man is about grounded stuff. He always joins the bigger things because he's Spider-Man, but he's always been more of a street level hero. He fights Tombstone and Kingpin and Scorpion and all that stuff. That's what we need. I thought, especially with how they set up the end of No Way Home, he doesn't have the Stark suit anymore. He just made his little suit, and he's, web slinging through New York in the snow. That's pretty much was like, everyone's like, all right, we're getting this, Spider-Man.
It would be funny if they did make a more grounded, down-to-earth Spider-Man, and then they gave it its own villain spin-off like the Batman. So all of a sudden we get an announcement, we're going to get a new series called The Kingpin.
Take my money. All of it. Yeah.
Not for you.
An Attack on Show, forgot about Echo, need to watch definitely. They did a good job on that.
Yeah,
We
I
were
enjoyed it. I thought it was good.
we were all worried that with it all dropping on the same day, that they were
Hmm.
just trying to get it out of the way, but it was solid. And Daredevil's appearance was good, and Vincent D'Onofrio is good in anything he does, so he was
Oh,
definitely
so
great
good.
as the Kingpin. Definitely worth your time, sir.
Hmm.
Well, anything else you got, gentlemen?
Not that I recall.
I think we covered the rumors. I got the one thing that kept popping up in my feed this week, and it was like every other thing I saw was about Jason Momoa being Lobo.
Oh, El Lobo, yeah.
And I was just like, all right, I get the point. That's every other one, you know?
The worst kept secret in the DCU.
Right.
Right. Hey, let's take the guy that basically looks like Lobo in real life and cast him to be Lobo.
Oh wow!
That starts filming next week.
Attack on Show says my tangent and unpopular opinion. I do not like Vincent D'Onofrio as Kingpin.
Oh, really?
That is unpopular.
I'm a little shocked by that, but you know what? Once again, all opinions matter. And we obviously trust your opinion. You do a great job on your channel, which once again, if anyone's out there watching, make sure you look up Attack on Show on YouTube, on TikTok, on Instagram, on all those good things. He's definitely worth the follow. I can't stand his speech patterns. When I was a boy.
To me, whenever he's like speaking at a normal volume, he always comes off as the kind of guy he's like just a second away from blowing up out of anger. Like, because whenever he gives his loud yelling speeches, screams Kingpin. But whenever he's just speaking and he's got a bit of a shake in his voice, kind of like this, to me it just sounds like he's gonna snap any second. It's taking all of his muscle to hold that back.
Yeah, and that scene in the prison with the Punisher when they fight, amazing scene, great scene. But it was my least favorite when he was in the Hawkeye series. When he
That was weird. Yeah, it was a little goofy.
yeah.
Yeah, that was.
I'm sorry, I was reading the Attack show, but it's all the time, even when he's on a date. Yeah, that's his normal demeanor. Is unsure of himself and shaky, but when he gets mad, he's definitely a confident man.
Well, hopefully he's better in Daredevil Born Again for you, sir, because it's gonna be great. I hope.
Well, now I'm
Okay.
curious. Do you like Matthew Cox as Daredevil?
Yeah,
Oh, good
Charlie Cox.
Charlie Cox is what I meant. I know names.
question. Do I know names? Yes.
Yes.
Oh, and there
And
There
Go
was
ahead.
another rumor I almost forgot. Now this is just from some scoopers saying that Edie Young will be back as Elektra, just as a
okay.
cameo in season 1, and then back I think more in season 2. Been a fan of his since Boardwalk Empire. He was fantastic on that show. He's good at everything. He's a really good actor. Did you hear about
he's a
him?
really good lawyer.
He lost. Yes, he lost out on a role for Star Wars because it was after his doing a bunch of Daredevil stuff, and he was like still acting like he was blind. He like couldn't snap out of it, and they were like, "It's not what we're looking for," or whatever. And he was like, I was so mad at myself because I was acting like freaking Matt Murdock, and that's not what they needed for this. Bullet dodged. Yeah, they definitely don't have a good track record of late. Well, should we find somebody to raid?
Right? Yeah, probably.
I was
might be
watching,
might be a good idea.
I was watching TG while I was setting up before this, and he's not.
I don't see him still on.
Nope.
I got Bubble.
Yeah, we got Bubble playing Dragon Age. That's a good thing. Yeah, that's
Got Patastic P playing Astrobot, Carmen playing Grand Theft Auto 5, Tiny Velker just chatting.
just so you know, my son got Astrobot for his PS5, and he's already finished it.
Oh, alrighty.
It's a fun game.
I've never heard of it. Interesting.
That's dedicated. That's dedication right there.
Oh, before I forget, while you're finding someone to raid with, if you want to pick someone, um, Dave, was it you who mentioned a minute ago that said he was a really good lawyer?
Yes.
Yeah. If you ever check out a YouTube channel by the name of Legal Eagle, he did a legal breakdown. He's a lawyer. Did a legal breakdown of the trial in She-Hulk, and he got a bad grade as a bad lawyer. He's like, oh no, so you're not supposed to approach the bench. The bailiff will tackle you. No, he really needs to. No, say something. Say something. Don't let them get away with it. He's pointing out all of the legal errors. And then as I'm watching that, I was then reminded. I'm like, oh, that's right. They didn't actually know anything about how the law or trials work when they were doing that show. The show
Oh,
about
that was such a good show. Yeah, that was top tier entertainment right there. I'm telling you.
And Attack on Show said, have fun, guys. Great catching up. Always a pleasure when you come on and we see you, sir. Can't wait to see another movie with you. We'll be in touch. And I think we're going to raid Bubble. She is finishing up Dragon Age Origins, which was a great game. And for those of you on YouTube still out there, rating is something we do on Twitch where we can send our viewers to another content creator that we enjoy to share the love. There is something we can do on YouTube with it, but it's got to be live feed to a live feed. Still trying to figure out who's live when we're live, if there's an easy way to find out. We'll be working on that. But for now, if you're still there, please like, subscribe to our channel, comment on it. All of these things help our channel out tremendously and are at zero cost to you. So we appreciate it. So we're going to raid. We'll be back Sunday night talking about episode 6 of Creature Commandos, which was out today. A little Dr. Phosphorus-centered episode, which was really good. Got a cameo of a certain DCU character that will come back Sunday, and you'll find out who he is. There's a little teaser for you guys. That'll bring them all back, because they can't just bing who showed up on Creature Commandos today.
Right.
They gotta wait for Sunday to find out when we tell them.
Right.
But we're gonna raid. Thanks everybody for coming out. We'll see you Sunday night talking Creature Commandos, and next Thursday night talking episode 7, the Jod-centric supposed episode of Skeleton Crew. Thanks everybody, and we will see y'all soon.
Hey fellow nerds, I hope you enjoyed this video, and if you want to see more of this stuff, make sure that you check out our Twitch stream. We try to do these live Sunday or Monday nights, 8 p.m. Eastern Time. Keep an eye on our social media to find out when you can join in live and chat with us during these live streams. Also, as usual, don't forget to check out our other social media. Add us at Twitter, comment down below, and we'll see you next time right here on Not Your Status Quo.